Talk about it. Talk about it. You can be greater.
Yeah, have you been thinking? How you been feeling? Have you been searching? Have you decided that you had enough? That you can be greater?
Welcome. My name is Ka'ama, and this is the Be Greater Moment. I am humbled and honored to have my next guest with us today. Renowned doctor, founded the NGO Tropical Pathology and Infectious Disease Association back in 2004, served 4 years active duty in the United States Army. Thank you for your service. 20 years experience teaching tropical medicine. He's an infectious disease expert. He's HIV specialist, trauma surgeon, the chief medical and science officer for SRS Inc.'s COVID-19 task force, Dr. Lane Rolling. Thank you so much, sir.
No, thank you for having me on, and I appreciate the nice, warm love.
Absolutely. We have to give praise where praise is due. Again, thank you so much for honoring us and bringing your expertise to our show, to our listeners, to your listeners, and to those that will be new to this whole experience. Let's start off, with a little bit about where you grew up. What's your background?
Wow, that's a very nice question for you to relay to me. But yeah, I was born in Louisiana. I was born in Fort Polk, Louisiana. I was a country boy living in a town called Oakdale, Louisiana. I tell people I left the reservation many, many years ago.
Heard that.
But I've lived in Germany 4 years, Japan 2 years. I went to high school in Las Vegas where I graduated. I went to Weber State in Utah on a football and Army scholarship. And I got a double degree there in microbiology and chemistry and a minor in military science. And then from there, I went and got my master's in cellular molecular biology at the University of Nevada, Reno Medical School. And then I went to med school San Francisco, et cetera, residency program, surgery, Honolulu, Hawaii, commission officer. And then, my life is like most young Black males at that time. You kind of try to find your identity. And I think I still remember my teacher when I was 6 years old, it said I was retarded. And she wanted me in special ed. And my mother said, came to school and said, no, my boy is not special ed. My baby is bored. And when you're talking 4 plus 4, he's thinking 9 times 9. And so I always remember that as a kid. And I remember my mother giving me my first microscope. One of them toy microscopes, and you can look at the little organisms on there. And
yes, I do. Yeah.
Microscope, and from there, hey man, I was in the science world. I remember laying in the grass, and I wanted to be an astronaut, a heart surgeon, or a fighter pilot. And I always dreamed about science, and I knew the constellation, how far the moon was, and Pluto and Mars, but that microscope just kept bringing me back, looking at the world of the seen and unseen, and that's a little bit about my background on that part. And I got a lot more to tell folks if they really want to hear a real story of a Black doctor's experience in America.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely going to talk about it. I mean, it's we are out there. You are out there. There are many that represent as I say, the cloth, the white coat, and just your upbringing. That highlight was there's a lot of richness to that. Being from Louisiana and going to Germany, Japan. I know a little bit about both countries. I spent a great deal of time in both countries throughout my short time here, and I love both cultures. And it's left an impact on me. So I'm sure that left a deep impact on yourself. Can you Can you tell me about, I mean, you spoke about the stethoscope. That's a $15 word. Laying in the grass and how that kind of guided you and led you. What's your earliest memory, either going into science, maybe after high school, or maybe as that 6-year-old, with teachers saying, your son is retarded and he should be in special ed. I know a little bit about that as well. Um, um, what's
Life,
the most,
life itself.
man, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Let me speak on, the most impactful memory that you have in your early development.
I think there's three of them, and I'm just going to keep it real.
Yeah.
I'm a real person. I'm down to earth, and I think that's part of what God's instilled in me, that humility, compassion. I don't like bullies, but I remember one was the teacher saying I was retarded. The second one was when I was in 10th grade at Valley High School, and I had a teacher there named Mr. Graywall. And he said, "Hey, what do you want to be when you grow up?" And I said, "I want to be a doctor." And he told me I did not have the aptitude. What
What?
15-year-old knows what the word aptitude means? And so that was kind of a shocker. And I think the last one that really got me to, that was a motivator, and then I think both of them putting me what I drive on every day. My inspiration is the fear of failing.
Mm.
I had to be the best because I what they did to me. The teacher, they said I was retarded. The teacher said I didn't have the aptitude. And I think the third teacher was my professor when I was at Weber State in Utah. Her name was Diane Horn. I'll never forget it. So I'm a good student. I'm double degree, minor in military science, Weber State, predominantly white school.
Yep.
Here I am, the only black in microbiology, only black ROTC, Army Scholarship, etc. So I remember, I was great student. And I remember my senior year, I asked her to write me a letter of recommendation to medical school, graduate school, because I thought she really was interested in who I was. Let me tell you what happened, partner. You're going to be shocked when I tell you this story. Well, people don't realize when you get into graduate school or medical school, you have access to your records.
Mm.
So I went to University of Alto Reno Medical School. I got into a PhD program at Virginia Tech. I won a full ride fellowship scholarship to Wayne State in cellular molecular biology, but I wanted to be a doctor. So I chose to go and get my degree in cellular molecular biology. I was commissioned, graduated from Weber State as a second lieutenant, chemical and biological warfare officer in the military. They want people to be educated, trained, best in the world. And so anyway, I remember one night I'm doing research at the University of Alto Reno Medical School about 9:00 at nighttime. And I said, I went into the office for something. I said, let me just look at my record. So I went into the file cabinet, pulled my record out, read what she wrote. And she wrote in that letter, my brother, that I did not have the ability or the skills to do graduate school work.
Wow.
And I graduated with a 3.5 master's in cellular and molecular biology, and I was number 4 in my medical school. I wrote the questions for the boards in survey. I certified people in survey. I certified people in infectious diseases.
Mm.
I'm one of 1% of people certified in chemical and biological warfare on the planet. So you tell me, so them three were very impactful, and I call that my post-traumatic syndrome scar that I even still remember today. And that's always why when you said, brother, man, I'm degreed up.
Yeah.
I'm educated, because that was one of the driving forces. That was some of the gasoline that gave me the inspiration. I could not be average. I got to be the best, period.
Yeah. It's interesting how that works, for us. My aunt taught me that,
Wow.
very similar to your story about the teacher saying that you were retarded. Just really, really quickly, I went through foster homes. I was homeless at 7. Was in a group home, and my beautiful aunt came down and she's like, "How would you like to come live with us?" And I was like, "Well, anything's better than this." Mind you,
Right.
my aunt was the dean of biochemistry at the University of Villanova. So
Wow.
very,
Incredible.
very, yeah, very educated, very elegant woman. And she saved my life, and she put me on a path, and she told me, you can't be average as a man of color in this country. You must always be the best at whatever it is that you do. You can't be average. You can't be even above average. You have to be the very best at what you do. And I commend you on, having, I might not, I shouldn't say it this way. I'm a Marine. So, it's that list. I'm going to say we have a list. I'm going to leave a key word out of that list. You know what I'm saying, Doc? We have a list, and we check that these people, they inspire us and motivate us to be our best because they said we can't. You tell me I can't do something, I'm gonna show you that I can, and I'm gonna show you that I'm gonna do it at a level to where you're gonna try to call me later and be like, hey, can I be involved in that? It's too late. You
I
already.
mean, you're a Marine. I'm an Army officer. How many doctors do you know, Army guys? I mean, all the Army guys love me. I was a 75th Ranger doctor.
Yeah.
I'm airborne qualified. I'm Pathfinder qualified. I'm scuba qualified.
Yeah.
I'm a master fitness trainer qualified. I was going to special forces doctor. What more can you say that I could not? It's really weird when people look at my background, but there's a reason why I am who I am, because the system told me what I had to do. I mean, how many Black people I'm the only Black professor of pathogenic virology in Germany at the Heinrich Boutique Institute now. I mean, I'm in the nature of microbiology, writing, fighting Zikas and fighting epidemics and stuff. And for me, it's an honor. Even though that carrying that cross by myself has been a burden, but it was a relief when Obama became president, because when I was overseas, people said, wow, when Black people in America, they know they got it going on, in a sense that we weren't just football players or rap singers, but they're Black doctors.
Right.
And you can be Black and become the president of the United States and stuff. So I look at it as an honor for me to be that mentor in my side of the world, my lane, which is science, medicine, and infectious diseases and surgery.
Which is way more important, let's be honest, than basketball, football, the entertaining lanes that generate a great deal of wealth and inspire a great deal of children. But seeing a person like yourself, a child knows, like you said, I could become president. I can be the leading expert in medicine and science. There are no limitations. There are no limitations. So with that list of accomplishments, you checked all off those markers. You went to medical school, you excelled, you quieted all the naysayers.
That's right.
There's a particular place in the world that I find fascinating. It's one of the bosoms of I really say modern civilization. When you talk about 14th century, 15th century, and ushering in math and science and wellness, you find yourself in Peru.
Right.
Now, what event, Doc, what event led you to study natural science or natural medicine in what some may say is the hub of that in the world, in Peru? What led you to Peru?
Well, it's absolutely just what I call faith. We had a military team and we're going down to Peru, and they needed another doctor on the team, and I didn't want to go. I mean, I just didn't. I was January 3rd, and I think Oklahoma and Nebraska were playing the Orange Bowl the next day. Man, I was get on that plane, go down there, because I already know I've been to third world countries. I know Honduras. I know Nicaragua. I know El Salvador. You know that lifestyle. You gotta, I've done it. And so sure enough, I changed my mind. I met everybody. We got on the plane. We flew down to Peru, and the rest of it's history, man. I fell in love with it. I went to a clinic, a place called Barranca, which is north of Lima. And man, we did a clinic for a town in the mountains, about 500 people. And man, took care of these folks. And let me tell you something, they actually said the word thank you. And it caught my attention. It broke my heart. And then the next day we flew to Iquitos. I'm talking the heart of the Amazon jungle. I mean, there's only two ways to get there. You get there by airplane or boat, 6 days. That's where it was. And we flew up to Iquitos, and I'll never forget it. It was the jungle, hot. And we went to the main hospital, and we go in this hospital, and the other doctor was a white guy. And the small little Spanish guy came up to me and him and says, hi, and hola. And he reached out to shake the white guy hand, and the white guy refused to shake this dude's hand.
Wow.
Then he reached out to my hand, and I shook his hand. And then that guy, guess what? He was director of all healthcare for the Iquitos and the jungle.
Wow.
White guy, he was done.
Done.
And then that doctor, they loved my personality, who I was. He put me on a boat at nighttime. Now, I mean, I'm talking to boats about 2 feet wide, maybe 6 feet long. We get on this boat and we go across the Amazon jungle to this village. Man, I'm thinking the anacondas are going to snatch me out of that boat. That boat's going to tip over, get eaten by piranhas. And we got to the other side, we walk into this village, and sure enough, man, there was like 12 chiefs. I'm talking chiefs in the village sitting down in this hut with a fire. You can imagine that.
Yeah, I see.
And I'm going there going, wow, man, this is like Indiana Jones type of stuff. And he goes, and I'm gonna say it in English, but he says, this gringo, Dr. Rowland is here to save our people and help our people, man. And Chief said, you are blessed, Dr. Rowland. Take care of our people. We go back across the river in that boat. He takes me straight to the television station. Man, I spoke no Spanish. Only thing I could say at that time was uno fantan na raja por favor. Uno na raja pantan. I don't know what the hell that meant, but it sounded good. So I'm on television, and they're interviewing me, in Spanish. I don't know. Only thing I can say is uno fantan na raja por favor. Uno fantan na raja por favor. Soon enough, they got a translator that came, and they got on there, and they started translating for me. And Dr. Rivera, his name, Joe Rivera, OBGYN, says, and I'm going to translate for everybody in English. He goes, Dr. Rowland is here to help our people. And I looked at him and I go, okay, because I wasn't going to do any surgeries because it was a third world country, no windows, no running water. And sure enough, man, I go, okay, guys, I'm going to do 6 surgeries. And guess what? The surgeries, for the consultation, my payment was a Fanta. I'm going to do 6 surgeries. I was going to do 2 pediatrics, 2 adults, and 2 old folks. Man, the next day, old people. The next day, man, there was 1,000 people lined up with Fantas. And out of them people, I orange Fanta, the soda, the pop. That was my pay. And I picked 6 people out of that and do surgery on. And one was a baby that had a deformity. Man, it was the hardest surgery I've ever done in my life, because when I did that surgery, they had the police in the OR, CIA in the OR, the governor, the mother, the TV people, because they won't know if this black guy could really do some surgery. I did that surgery, man, 3 hours, man. The mother fell on the floor, praying to me, going, "Oh, muchas gracias, Dr. Rowland. Mi Dios, mi Dios." And the nurse said, "Perfecto." I took off my scrubs, man. My gown, I was drenched. The next day, they flew me to the Capitol, and I met the president. Walked in there, man. He said, "We saw what you did. We saw the surgery." He said, "Dr. Rowland," with his ministers, and he said, "Are you here to help us?" And I said, "Sir, I'm going to give you guys 15 years of my life to help your people." And the president said, "You are blessed. Go take care of my people, Dr. Rowland."
What an
And that's started, man. And then the infectious diseases, I'm an infectious disease guy, and Peru has every disease you can imagine: tuberculosis, Zika, malaria, snake bites, E. coli, cholera. It was the biggest petri dish in the world, and I fell in love with it. And man, the rest of that stuff is history. And because I know you've done your research, hey, when you go in my world, never get out the boat. But
Yeah.
if you get out that boat in my world, be prepared to go all the way.
Yeah.
If you cannot keep up, do not step up. And I'm here to save people's lives. And it's been a marvelous when you save a child's life and that mother gives you that baby and you save that mother's baby. What more can you ask for?
Yeah.
I mean, so that's a summation of Peru.
Wow. I mean, that's absolutely amazing. Peru is one of those interesting places in the world, much like the Congo, where you're going to find everything. There was a book that I read, The New World Before Columbus. It's like 1491.
Yep,
And
I read that.
yeah, and it's such an interesting book because it talks about migration, but not the migration of people, the migration of diseases, foods, bugs, all these different things because of the introduction of new people into these places in the world that were closed off. And where,
Absolutely.
yeah, so
Mhm.
please go ahead, Doc. Go ahead.
No, absolutely. When you say in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue, old world met new world, and the first place they went to was Haiti, which was called Hispaniola at that time. Haiti and Dominican Republic. Guess what? Columbus and them guys brought syphilis to the new world, to the Indians, and the Indians gave them smallpox, and they went back and took that back so the interchanges of diseases. People want to know, why didn't the white man conquer the middle part of Africa? Because you know why? It's between a tropical of Cancer and a tropical of Capricorn. You got tsetse flies, you got malaria, you got every disease in there, and it kills everybody because diseases do not discriminate.
Yeah, it's so true, and there's so much documented evidence to that fact. So it's amazing. I mean, Peru, you spend your time there helping the people. You seem to have fallen in love with the idea of helping people from these infectious diseases, and what a place to learn that. So now, the average person in 2020, even if they haven't been paying attention, they think that they're an infectious disease expert now. They're all over social media. They're all over the news. We are currently living in this coronavirus, COVID-19 reality. And there's a lot of conspiracy theories. There's a lot of, I don't believe this or I believe that. And a lot of this, I feel there's misinformation being fed to the people from the media, from the government, all around. Help us clear the air, and shed some light on our current situation when it comes to coronavirus and COVID-19.
Well, we're military guys. You're a Marine. I'm an Army. I'm gonna give you a nickname. I'm just going to say, Kay, let's keep it real, brother. Do you know how many people the government and has killed? 180,000 plus people here in the United States, several million worldwide. And the reason why, because guess what? A year ago, nobody knew about coronaviruses themselves. I did. I'm
Right.
certified in biological warfare and medical management of patients. I've been to Fort Detrick, Maryland. I've been to Rocky Mountain, in Montana, the most secure biological facility on the planet. I've been there. I teach pathogenic virology. I'm in the jungles doing real clinics. When I say real clinics, Kay, I'm talking about, can you imagine flying to Iquitos, get on a boat down the Amazon River for 9 hours, get off that boat into water up to your waist, leeches, piranhas, walk up that riverbank, go into the jungles, and you hump 6 to get to a village with snakes, mosquitoes, darkness, monkeys, fear, humidity, heat, and unknown, cutting with machetes. And you get to that village, it opens up into an area, and then there's 400 or 500 people, children waiting for you. And you go there and you go into a school with no windows, little blue school, because they're all blue. And we go in there and we set up a clinic and we see 500 kids, babies in a day. Medicines, parasitic worms, stomach swollen. We give them the medication and they're throwing up worms. The women have infections. I'm doing surgeries in the jungles in a school, with no power, with the medical stuff we brought in, carrying 80 pounds of medical supplies, and you treat a whole entire village. And we're talking about not just diseases, tumors, malaria, dengue, chikungunya, Zika, tuberculosis, double malaria. I mean, you name it, Ebola, et cetera, Chagas disease, leishmania. People's jaws are falling out of their faces.
Ooh.
In the world, do you know, and you're a Marine, has that type of experience?
I know no one. I mean, and I've been in a few, jungles.
I know you're a Marine.
Yeah. So I know no one that has that medical background. The closest thing that I know, I've met a few PJs, pararescue jumpers. There's some bad boys. And that's all I was thinking about when you were giving your credentials. Yeah, I mean, that's monumental. How do you feel about the message that's been relayed to the people?
Well, your message to the, and I don't want to, Kay, you said I wanted to give you background, but the problem that what's happened is that they've taken what I think is pure infectious diseases and they put politics into it. Period. You got OBGYNs that are all sudden virologists, and you got orthopedic surgeons. They're talking about, they know about HIV, and you got and COVID. Then you got guys that are family practicing. I mean, where were these? I've never seen these people at Fort Detrick. They don't have a top secret clearance. I've never seen these people at the Heinrich Institute in Germany. They discovered polio back in 1948. I've been in the jungles. I've never seen these people. Where did they come from?
Right.
And they have killed and injured and maimed a lot of people, and they should be responsible for it. I'm not a school teacher. I'm not an accountant.
Right.
I'm not a neurosurgeon talking about infectious diseases. I am infectious diseases, but I'm also a surgeon, real certified in that stuff, and I train people in that stuff. So that's the message. And guess what? They've hurt so many people, especially the socially disadvantaged people. Wear a mask, don't wear a mask. And you already know what's happening in the Black population. This is a game changer.
It's huge. And you're the first doctor I heard, and I said this within conversation, as a Black man who grew up in Baltimore, Maryland, as a Marine, I use a great deal of common sense. I look at the lay of the land. I look at the information that's provided. I ask a great deal of questions. And from those questions, I seek the proper answers. So you're the first doctor I heard describe COVID-19 as airborne HIV. And
Mhm.
we know that HIV does what? It destroys the immune system. So you
Absolutely.
don't essentially die from HIV, you die from pneumonia or some other illness. So why did you describe COVID-19 as airborne HIV? And we know how to protect ourselves from HIV, right? You know, either abstain from sex or
Right.
use a condom. I don't
That's
see
right.
a mask operating as a condom. So, so please, why did you liken COVID-19 to HIV?
Because it is really, in a sense, it is our HIV moment, our second coming of the HIV moment, because this disease is going to change the way the world is right now, just like HIV does. In fact, this virus is more lethal than HIV.
Mm,
When we talk about diseases and how we classify diseases, and I'm going to give you just two examples. We're going to say Ebola.
okay.
Ebola, what we call an R naught number, reproductive number 1.
Mhm.
Measles has an R naught number of 12. What does that mean? One person gets Ebola, they can only infect one person, blood to blood.
Okay.
Measles is aerosol, respiratory. One person can infect 12 people. So them 12 people to 100 people can infect, that means 1,200 people infected.
Mm,
Well, guess what? The coronavirus has an R naught number about 4 to 10. HIV has an R naught number about 3.
okay.
Influenza has an R naught number about 1.5. So this virus attacks almost every cell in your body. Your eye cell, your nose, your lungs, your tongue, coronary arteries, vessels, kidneys, gastrointestinal tract, heart, lungs. Game changer. Mutating every 2 weeks. RNA virus. I mean, unbelievable. Not just respiratory transmission, fecal transmission,
Mm,
because it lives in feces for 35 days. And better yet, the virus can transmit itself across the placenta into the uterus, into the fetus, into the baby. Also, the virus is found in your semen. Sexual transmission.
geez.
Game changer.
That-
Virus. Mutating.
So to me, you use the word mutating. To me, when I hear what you just laid out, that sounds like that's engineered to corrupt those different areas of the body. It sounds like it was genetically engineered in a laboratory. I'm just based off of what I'm hearing. Now I know that it's naturally occurring in nature. Um, is this particular virus that smart? Now I use the word smart because you said mutating, that it's learned our bodies and learned how to destroy our natural defenses. What's so unique about this particular strand of coronavirus?
Well, Kay, let me tell you this, man. We have a word in the world of virology, and it's a word called trophism.
Trophism.
Trophism. Trophism. What does that mean? Well, when I teach my students, and I train students in infectious diseases in Peru, in Germany, to my PhD virology students, etc. I always ask this question: do viruses have a conscience? Do bacteria have a conscience?
Mm,
How does a bacteria know how to change? How does a virus know what it does? And I always throw that question out there. So let me get back to your answer. The virus is not genetically modified. This virus is just figuring it out. Trophism. For example, if I gave you polio and you wash your hair with polio in a shampoo, you would not get polio.
mm,
I can give you HIV in blood and you can wash your feet with it. You're not going to get HIV.
right.
Give you rabies and you can put rabies as a hand lotion. You're not going to get rabies. But if that rabies virus touches your peripheral nerve, if that polio virus touches your cells in your gastrointestinal tract, if that HIV virus attaches to your T4 cells, you're going to get the virus. That's trophism. All viruses have a particular cell that has to be infected for them to cause disease. So this particular virus, and make sure that you understand, and I want your folks to understand, I'm going to give you just a basic course in virology.
Yes.
There's the coronavirus that we have in the normal population. 4 of them is a second leading cause of the common cold. You get it, I give it. Get it. That's OC43, 229E, or what we call NL63, or HKU104. Coronavirus, it circulates all the time.
Okay.
This particular virus, the SARS-CoV virus, or SARS-CoV number 2, is in the family of beta coronavirus. These other viruses I said are alpha coronaviruses. Well, in that beta coronavirus, you have SARS number 1, 2002. You have MERS 2010, 12. And then you have SARS-CoV number 2. Well, guess what? This virus came from a bat. It jumped in an individual, but this virus figured it out. It became more infectious because it's able to attach to a receptor cell called the AC2 receptor. That's receptors in your eyeball, it's in your nose, it's in your heart, your lungs, your coronary, your vessels, your kidneys. That virus attaches to that, gets inside, baby. Ball game over with. It's done. It's figured it out. And it mutates every 2 weeks.
Wow.
It's incredibly smart, intelligent, major, what's that word? Trophism.
Trophism. So
Trophism.
when we were, I mentioned off camera before we started, or Osmosis Jones, and that movie basically in layman's terms lays out what you just, gave us. That virus, and even in the movie, the virus had spoken about the different people he had killed, and the time frames got shorter and shorter and shorter, and how smart he got by the time he got to Bill Murray's character. He had figured it out, and he took Bill Murray out within a couple of hours. So why is it that it is so detrimental to the Black community? If this virus, has no conscience, but it is extremely smart, why is the Black community more susceptible than anybody else?
Well, there's probably several reasons, but I'm going to say healthcare disparities, the first one.
Okay.
The second one is that most minorities, people of color, social disadvantage, Black, Native Americans, Mexican Americans are frontline workers. So let's talk about healthcare disparity. We already know that case since Black people first landed in the United States, and we can talk about what they've done to Black folks. We can talk about the Tuskegee syphilis experiment, when the government purposely injected Black people with syphilis, studied them for 40 years, 1972. Babies came out with no eyes, no brains, etc. And they were taking the spinal fluid out of these Black folks, and they made it into the diagnostic kits. Alabama makes billions of dollars every year off of Black folks selling that stuff all over the world to detect syphilis. So you think Black people really trust the system being experimented on? Absolutely not. So healthcare disparity is that we don't have access to the best care. If we do go into the system, like the 9-year-old Black girl that died a week ago in Florida, she went to the hospital. They told her they didn't want to do a test on her for the SARS-CoV virus, sent her home, and she died.
Wow.
But we don't ever get into the system, primarily because 1, trust the system. We don't. 2, we don't get the best care. 2 weeks ago, the article came out, Journal of Medicine, England, that Black babies that are treated by white doctors are 3 times more likely to die.
I read that.
Repeat that again. Black babies that are treated by white doctors are 3 times more likely to die. So if they're killing Black babies like that, What do you think they're doing to Black patients in the hospital?
Wow. I mean, that's a
That
mouth.
that's a fact. And
Yeah.
so then you say, what else is that? We're frontline workers. We're on the bus. We're in the markets. We're in the meat plants. We're in all. So we get exposed to more viral load.
Mm.
Instead of me getting infected by one person, I'm getting infected by, 50 people breathing in all these viruses, just like the bus driver in Detroit, that the lady was on a bus coughing and he died 10 days later.
Mm.
The infectious load. And then, they talk about diabetes, they talk about asthma, they talk about all these other comorbidities. Well, guess what, folks? White people have comorbidities. Asian people have comorbidities. Everybody has comorbidities, but the reality is that, you know what? It's the life and the struggles and the stress that we've been under for 300 or 400 years. And that's why my responsibility is to give socially disadvantaged people the best education to possibly protect themselves in this pandemic, which now is endemic, that's going to be going on for a while.
Yeah, education is the key uh, to salvation. I mean, just period. Once you, as the old saying goes, once you know better, you can do better. And that's so profound.
Come
You
on, you from Baltimore. Come on, man. I mean, you know what Big Mama said? Big Mama always said education.
education. That Big Mama was my aunt. When I went, let me tell you. I mean, this is key. This is so close to me. I mean, it speaks to me. Like I said, my aunt was a biochemist. I've seen the proper gas mask and respirators and all this stuff was laying around the house. When she went to work in a laboratory where she had to disinfect herself and
That's
sterile
right.
herself before she went into her laboratory. And I've been in, I was in those laboratories when I was little, but because of at that particular time, my upbringing, I didn't really get it then, but when she passed away, it just all unloaded on me, and I got it, and I went for it to make her proud. Me sitting
Right.
here is because of her. Us having this conversation is because of her education.
That's right.
And there are multiple ways to get an education. You went to medical school and in the real world and in the jungle. I got my education in a classroom as well, but my education came from the streets. And from the streets, it went to a classroom. From a classroom, it went to Beaufort, South Carolina on those yellow footprints. And then my time in the Marine Corps. So education is so, so, so important. And it just seems like in 2020, so many people don't want the education. They want the noise. They want the drama. They want all the, all the bullshit, right? And then when you're giving them the education, for some reason, they seem to want to block it. But here at
You
BGM,
know, yeah, but you know what it is, man. It comes down to three things: dedication, determination, and discipline. Them
100%.
are the keys. If you have them, anybody can be successful. Anybody can be successful if you internalize the 3 Ds. And for me, it's amazing, like you said earlier, is that I've had, young Black girls, send me emails through their mother saying they want to grow up and be like Dr. Rowling. They want to be infectious disease guy. Mama, I can do that. And that is part of us, me and you, giving our salvation and using your platform to be able to educate and save people's lives. That's what we're doing. Because people want to hear from people like me and you,
Mm.
because we've been there. They want to know about grits. They
Yeah.
want to know catfish and collard greens and candied yams and cornbread. And they say, man, Dr. Rowland's a country boy. I caught tadpoles. I was in the creek. I was back in the woods and all that stuff when I was a kid. But I had dreams also.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. You mentioned that we're going to be in this COVID-19 for some time. How long do you anticipate that we're going to be living in a COVID world?
Well, I think if, you've heard my other talks, with Derek Luke and, Aloe Black and, Rashad Ritchie out of Atlanta. And I would say I can give you the Dr. Rowland version, or I can give you the Mickey Mouse version.
We want this is the Be Greater moment, man. We don't, there's I want the Dr. Rowland version. We do the real thing.
Well, we're going to be strong for the next 2 years. Second wave will be here October, November, December. Going to be about 5,000 people going to die every day through October, November, December, up to January. Game changer. This third wave will be here in March. And then we're going to recycle one more time around, strong like this. And then we'll start coming out of it. But this pandemic, what we call an endemic, is going to be here for the rest of our lives.
So since that is our reality,
right,
can you give me your top maybe 3 to 5 things that we can do to protect ourselves or create new habits? What is your expert advice on protecting ourselves?
Well, we call that biosafety and biosecurity protocols. That's what we call it. We learned that in the biological world of infectious diseases. If you have biosecurity protocols and biosafety protocols in that type of world, you can protect yourself. Mm-hmm. Personal protection. 1, making sure you wear a mask outside in the public. That's just a fact. The mask is going to protect you from the infection inside, if you have it, to the outside, and from the outside to you. It is your barrier. Masks are going to be normal. It's going to become the fashion statement for the next 5 to 10 years. That's just a fact. 2, making sure that you cut your fingernails and wash your hands with the best antiseptic hand wash that you have, and also having the best antiseptic desanitizer for your hand that kills viruses, bacteria, and lasts 24 hours. And we have technology at SRS. The third thing is to make sure that you don't wear your shoes in your house, because the virus can be tracked on your shoes. The virus, not just respiratory, ultra respiratory infection. The virus can be in the air for 14 minutes. It can go 6 feet, 9 feet, and go a mile through kinetic energy. Mask protection. Second, your shoes. Make sure. Third, make sure when you use the bathroom that you clean your bathroom. Make sure you put down a toilet lid, because when you go in the bathroom, somebody is asymptomatic, or they have full-blown disease, they flush that toilet, that feces becomes aerolized throughout the whole entire bathroom. And you touch the counter, touch your face, you can get infected. We have a thing in infectious diseases. I want people to remember, your audience. We call it the F's. You have flies, feces, food, formite, foot, and we call face. And the R itself is what we call respiratory.
Wow.
Your fingers, flies, formite could be an inanimate object, a coffee cup, a salt shaker. It could be this Coke bottle. It can be your door handle. And then making sure in October, November, December, you have the best air filtration unit in your house, because you can, and people will, get both, not just the SARS virus, they would also get influenza, the flu, A or B, maybe even respiratory syncytial virus. I've never seen in my career somebody have one disease. They always have polymicrobial, which means many
diseases.
So people need to get themselves prepared this month, be ready for October, and they need to have the best surface disinfectant in the world. And we have that because we vetted it at SRS, and that's ProGuardium, which is a hypochlorous acid solution.
Let's expand upon that. Tell me about the different products that you're involved with, that you've helped develop, and that can add that protection to us.
Well, one is temperature facial recognition. We have tablets that you can walk up to 4 feet away, and it reads your temperature. Instead of having somebody with a thing in your face, they might be giving you the virus. Maybe you give them the virus. So we have temperature facial standoff recognition tablets that tell you if your mask is on, properly have the proper temperature. 2, we have what we call the best hand sanitizer. Kills viruses and bacteria, lasts for 24 hours. And you already know that, saferhands.us and SRS, and we have our sanitizers there. The third thing is we have mats in front of your house, mats in the schools that we've already put in, mats that we put on school buses that has ProGuardium in it, and it disinfects the bottom of your shoes.
Okay.
Do not make sure you have your mask. That's another one. Technology-wise, we have the ability to test facilities because we can't test everybody. We can test your studio, we can test your home, buildings, and we will let you know within 90 minutes if that house, school, building, airplane, school bus is positive for for the SARS-CoV virus, real time within 90 minutes. And then we can lay out protocols and disinfect that book. Then we have ProGuardium, which we believe is the #1 product or technology in the world for killing the actual SARS-CoV virus. This is the only product that's been tested against the SARS-CoV virus and not coronavirus. Game changer. Natural, organic, green product. It's not a chemical. EPA, FDA approved, enlisted. We use it in our biodecontamination units that I helped develop, where people walk through this and they're disinfected from the top of their head to the bottom of their shoes. I installed 2 of them here in Las Vegas at the Henderson Hospital and Centennial Hospital. And then we have ProGuardium itself, the juice that you can spray on money, your school bus, your chair, everything, and be disinfected and not have chemical toxicity because it's a natural product. It's been around since 1858. It's a green product. We find it using your contact solution. You're using it in wound care. Just beautiful, 120 times more effective than chlorine. Over time, you use chlorine, you can get lung cancer.
Right.
Hey, Lysol, quaternary ammonia is a pesticide. Then we have the ability, what I say the most important things, that we can educate and train people, and we do town hall on communities for where we're going. Talks by me called Fireside, like we're doing. We're having a fireside chit chat, me and you, live. And that's some of the technology. We have the air filtration units that we put in bathrooms that kill the virus in the air, not just SARS virus, but it kills influenza. It kills hepatitis A. We have that type of technology at SRS. So we believe that we have the best technology in the world based off of science and medicine and not some feel good. That is a game changer. Technology that can save your life in this modern world. And that's just the way it is. And then we also have the ability to test individuals and tell you within 10 minutes if you're positive for the SARS virus by a fingerprint, taking a blood stick on your finger. We tested all the NBA players with our technology.
Okay. So, oh man, that's amazing. We'll be sure to, if you can give us those links
Okay.
right before we close out, so that way people can jump online and be able to get the spray and the mats and all that wonderful stuff.
Let me see if I can put that in the chat for you right now.
Yeah, let's make that happen.
Okay, well, I flunked English, but I'm gonna try to do a good job on this.
No worries.
When it comes to science now, that's a whole different ball game. I get A's in that, but you're talking about English, then that's a whole different thing. So I just put that there.
Okay, there it is.
Okay, let me put your other one there. And this is
there it is.
Safer Hands. And you know that I want to also say to the folks out there, Safer Hands, bingo, got that one for you. And let me see if I can find a little mini bottle, we call it the, I don't know if I sent that to the mini biodecontamination unit. That
Yes.
does $5,000. We got it down to where, it's just, let me see if I can find it for you real quick, and for personal use. And I'll put that on there, and then we're in the game. And I think everybody will have the information. They can make the best decision to protect their families, because that's what we hear about, is to save lives. And let me get that to you. This is the last one. And then okay, I got that for you. Bingo. So now you have all the information that you need so people can protect themselves. Because at the end of the day, folks, our job and my responsibility, because I've heard so many mothers scream and cry when their babies die.
Yeah.
We put these babies in body bags and their mothers are screaming, falling out, passing out, praying to God. And so we can prevent that from happening here in America. And that's what SRS, my company that I'm the chief medical executive for, that's what we developed these technology. We're a 19-year-old company.
Yeah.
We've done $1.4 billion we've done in 19 years.
Wow.
U.S. Department of Army. We've done it for FEMA, Homeland Security. We're a prime company, minority owned, all military guys.
Yeah.
And you can look at our record, and that's what we do. We've done pandemic disasters from hurricanes, everything. We'll be in Louisiana next week, you know, with the hurricane destruction. We've done Katrina. We are the company on the planet, and we call it SRS, means System Ready Solution, single source, built by military guys with the best technology on the planet by far, none. Nothing to talk about.
Excellent.
No.
So in closing,
Okay.
tell us any upcoming where we can see you. Do you have any speaking engagements online? Just give us a quick rundown.
Well, I have the Denver's coming up again. I have, I'm going to be doing one with Icky Woods, who used to have the Icky Woods Shuffle for the Cincinnati Bengals. Former NFL, Hall of Famer. I'm going to be doing a program with him. I'll be back on the Ralph Sampson Show, NBA Hall of Fame basketball player out of Denver. And I have, I think probably what I'm looking forward is the one where me and Dr. Fauci end up doing one together, which is going to be a game changer because, that's the type of information that needs to be articulated by somebody that looks like me, like Big Mama say. That's great chocolate.
That's just great chocolate. So where can we follow you? What's your social media handles?
Well, it's Dr. Rolling. Instagram is Dr. Rollings on Instagram, and then my Facebook is Dr. Lane Rolling. So people can follow me on Instagram. They can also follow me on Facebook, and for sure, Kay, they can follow you through me because you have access to me. And I look forward to doing part 2 in October because we have to save people's lives. We got to let people be aware. This is not a party. People out there not wearing masks. Ask some people in Ozark, Missouri back in Memorial Day when they're out there, butt naked, face to face, no mask. They ain't laughing now.
It's no joke. It's not a joke. And Doctor, I appreciate you. I must say this. I love you, brother. I appreciate you. And I thank you for the championship work that you're doing and bringing this to our people and to the world. Thank you for being on the Be Greater moment. And we look forward to part 2. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And, for one fellow military guy to another military guy, God bless you. But we come from a different background. We have that discipline and determination. And I appreciate you for giving me the opportunity to be on your platform. I hope this was great information for you people. And you have a super fantastic day.
You as well. You as well.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Talk about it. Talk about it. You can be greater.
Yeah, have you been